joining us on Pastor's Corner. Thank you for your support. Thank you for liking, subscribing. Today we are going to we're going to talk about forgiveness, bitterness, peace. And we're going to start in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, starting with the 14th verse. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. That's the beginning there. And then it says, looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. I know the language there, the wording is a little bit challenging to follow along because of the way it's worded compared to our modern day communication. This is King James, of course. So the English language changes the way we communicate. I know we touched that before. But it's pretty much saying to not allow bitterness to grow roots in us. And it says you, like towards the reader, the hearer. And it says, lest many be defiled. So it's singular, you, or I shouldn't say singular because this is you to us is singular. But it says you to the reader or readers. And it says to us, I'll say it that way, but many be defiled. So if I can explain it this way, bitterness can be contagious, That's why many can be defiled. But let's back this up. And look at the root of bitterness, the root of it. How does it germinate? How does it spring up? Well, it starts with us getting offended. That's where it starts. We get offended. And being offended can be many things. Many things can offend us. It could be extreme, or it could be minor. It could be major, it could be minor. It could be something really horrendous or something very minimal. And we get offended. And as we talked about in the past, where the Bible says not to let the sun go down on our wrath, and that offense could grow before the day ends into bitterness. Because bitterness comes after wrath. Wrath is before bitterness. Bitterness comes after wrath. Offense, we start with offense. We become hurt. We may grow into being a form of hatred and wrath, and then we go to sleep with it, and it roots into us, and it turns into bitterness. That's why the Bible says to not let the sun go down on our wrath, lest that wrath grows into bitterness. Although the way, if I could say it in modern language, we become jaded. Bitterness is a form of what today we call jaded. And you'll pick up when someone's jaded, they're easily offended because of past offense. They're super guarded. I say guarded because you can guard in a healthy way, and you can guard in an unhealthy way. And that the guarding, this is just an example where we're like this, or more so than that. We're like that with people. We don't let them come into us, come in and have a relationship at a deep level. There's no connecting, because the offense has turned into a jadedness, into a bitterness. So I say it this way: we can compare stories. You have stories, I have stories. We could talk about our stories. What are our stories? What I mean by that? Things that have hurt us, things that have uh, offended us, things that have done us wrong. I think everybody has one. Everyone has one or more or many. But it's what we do with those stories. What do we do with them? And we can learn, we can learn, or we can allow them to just make us where everything becomes an offense to us. And we know people that that's how they live. Everything is they're looking. Oh, oh, you're trying to uh, jab me. You're trying to hit me. You're trying, and I've learned this through time. In say as a child, not understands like what's that about? Uh, why does somebody jab? Why does somebody let's say start with a pebble, throw a pebble at us, and then those pebbles grow into rocks and stones and get big and throw it. But for myself, when it does come and somebody's throwing something at me, jabbing me, looking to offend me, I'll step back and say, okay, it's not about me. This isn't about me. It's about them. What do I mean it's about them? It's like, why? Why do they need to jab? Why do they need to look to tear another person down? It and if we look at it that way, say it's not about us, it's about them, and whatever is triggering them to look to offend us or you or me, whatever that is, but not living our life because of people that do that. We live our life uh, that everything is an offense. Um, I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt. I tend to start people up higher and allow them to lower or high or raise their their credibility, whatever it is. Most people don't do that. They don't start people up. They don't give them the benefit of the doubt. They start them. Some people start them below ground level, start them in the basement. But most people start people real low, and that person has to work that bar up there. I tend to, when somebody tells me 10 measures, I'm going to say, okay, it's 10 measures until you begin to realize, oh, their 10 measure means 5, or their 10 measures mean 3, or it means 8. You begin to see that. 7 o'clock doesn't mean 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock means 7:15, 7:30. Uh, you begin to see that. And people will do this because so many people, 7 doesn't mean 7, so people will tell them 6:30, but they really mean 7. And when somebody does that to me, I'll tell them. I said, if you mean 7, tell me 7. Don't tell me 6:30 when you mean 7. Because if you tell me 6:30 and I show up at 6:30, I'm late. I'm late in my book. If someone tells me 6:30, I'm gonna be there prior to 6:30. Uh, so if somebody means 7, I'm gonna show up prior to 7 o'clock, not sometime after 7. Where other people, they 7 means 7:15, 7:30, 7:40. You know how it goes, and but you begin to see that. You begin to see what somebody's word is. What is their credibility? How how sound are they with it? But I tend to take people at a higher level and let them lower it or raise it. But some people put people in the basement, like I said, and then not trust anybody. Now, trust has to be earned. I get it, and people lose our trust. And all those things. It's fluid and it's moving, but you begin to see this. But because somebody else their word is not their word. It's not gold. Yea is not yea. Nay is not nay. Sometimes maybe nothing is truthful that comes out of their mouth. Everything's a lie. Well, that doesn't mean that we take that and put that on the whole world, everyone we meet. Or uh, somebody has experienced unfortunate relationship, and now that they transfer it to everyone that they come in contact with. That's not what we should do. That's why we have to find forgiveness. We have to find peace. We have to find peace within ourselves. And sometimes we have to do that over and over with the same situation. Yes, the same situation. We might have to revisit it. Revisit it how? In prayer. In prayer, we revisit it. So I have to uh, work through this again and see, okay, what was that? What happened there? Why did this go off the rails, whatever it is, or why did this person come at me? Like what I mean, come at me, come attacking, come throwing rocks, and I have to back it up. I have to back it up and say, okay, what was that? Why might they have done that? And say, okay, let me let me work through that. I'm gonna give you uh, it, an example. It was many years ago in high school, and uh, there was another student there that I didn't know him. I didn't know. I would see him around high school, see him maybe. I remember seeing him at the Circle K convenience market one day with his friend, and I didn't know who he was, but he uh, he would like him and his friends would like yell things at me and just from a distance, never close up. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. My thinking was that it was they did that to everybody, but then I realized it was like there was something there. There was something there. I don't, I didn't know who he was. I began to see him, and then I heard his name. Well, he came across my feed that he had died, and so I just looked at his obituary. We're never friends. We never had a conversation other than, like I said, I remember sometimes pulling out of the school parking lot. He'd be out there. He'd be like yelling. I'd be like, I don't know what that was. Well, now at this stage, it's just when I saw the obituary and I read it, it was like it hit me. Oh, he had heard of me and things had happened. I could see it in the obituary that the connection that he had that showed up on his obituary towards me. And I was like, I know that sounds vague, but I was like, oh, he, there was something there. I didn't know he was, but he had heard of me uh, through other people, and boom, that's and it. So he had something towards me. I didn't get it back then. This is way beyond my pay scale back then. But now when I saw that, it is like, oh, okay, that's what that was. Um, that that my name had come up and things. So he had he was out for me in a way, and then he rallied his friends in, and stuff like that happens, and that's they say that's shallow, and it's a. But there's a lot of times that somebody would say, "Hey, this person doesn't like you," and I'd be like, "I don't know who they are. How can they not like me? I don't. I don't even know who they are. I don't know. You just told me their name, but I never heard their name, or if I saw them, I wouldn't know who they are." And it happens. But I look again. It wasn't about me. It was about him, and where he was at that time of his life. Like I said, he passed away, but other people, and it still happens to me today. Somebody will come and say, "Oh, so and so doesn't like you," and I'll be like, "I don't know them. And then they may give me, oh, they're this person, this person, this person. Okay, they can take that. They cannot like me, but I don't know how that works in their life again. But it's not about me, and I just gotta look and say, okay, I don't need a root of bitterness growing inside of me. I give that story because I'm giving it as an example. I'm giving an example of things that happen, and you can do everything right. Not that we do. I'm just saying that as an example again, that we can do everything right and someone still be offended. Sometimes, even how are you? Someone could take it the wrong way. What do you mean? How am I? What do you mean? Do you think there's something wrong with me? And it's like, okay, it, oh, you have to figure how do you communicate with that person. And then some people you realize it's like, I guess I can't. I guess I can't uh, communicate with them. What I mean is they're offended by everything, all the different forms. And that can happen in any way, at the store with a stranger, whatever it is. But that we don't allow bitterness to grow within our hearts. Our offenses, we're easily offended. And the forgiveness isn't saying that the other person's right or the situation's right or the circumstance is right, but that we make peace with it so that we don't become bitter. I do my best to walk in peace. I do my best to walk lightly. I do my best to start with a place of calmness in situations. And I know I've shared this, but I'll throw humor out to just bring things down, bring things down. I use a lot of humor, but my humor is not coming at someone or they're the joke, the other person. I just I'll throw opposites at people, and somebody that works hard, for example, they're always working. They work hard. They got good work ethic. They're really diligent. That person like that, I'll say, uh, talk, call them on the phone. Are you sleeping? And somebody that has a good work ethic and understands, they'll realize I'm downplaying, I'm joking, yeah, or I wish, or yeah, I'm in bed, or I just woke up, or whatever. It's just plain. But somebody that isn't have a good work ethic, I'm not going to say that to them. I'm not going to do that. But somebody that does, I'll say that, knowing that they're not there when they're awake, they're going. And again, it's just playing around. Some people I don't because they can't roll with it. But my family, people around me, and there's a time that humor's not proper. I get it, but with myself, I'm either some form of light humor or I'm really serious. I'm really serious. The in between thing is not my strength. I can't go a little bit here and there, but I tend to either humorous or it's really serious, and and I got to keep myself from going too deep because I can go deep, and that's my relationship with my wife. We do a lot of humor, and then we're real serious, and we go back and forth like that. Of course, we communicate about a lot of things in life. What's this? What do you got here and there? And we find our place of agreement there. Uh, she's got humor differently than I do, but she's got that. It's different. We have different ways, but we we volley it back and forth, and that it's just it helps. It helps. Same thing with my children and people in my life, but that we're not walking around uh, jaded, angry, bitter, offended. Everything's an offense. Everybody's my enemy, and people say this that their circle's small. There's nothing wrong with a small circle, but I say my circle's not small because it's not. I don't have a small circle. I have a big circle. Um, and I have a lot of friends, and it's a lifetime of friends, decades of friends, and they fit different areas of my life. And of course, things have happened, or disagreements or situations, but we work through them, or we work through them, or we we have a form of agreement, and I thank God for that. But I do my best to not allow something that went off the rails to continue over down the road that makes me jaded, offended, bitter, so that I can follow peace with all men. Yes, I can hold the peace on my side. Now, does it mean everyone else does? No. But on my side, on your side, as you know, the Bible says, agree with your adversary quickly. Agree with them quickly. Lest it goes the wrong way and we become bitter. We become, I use the modern day language, jaded. Uh, the different terms that get used out in our new vernacular. I'm not going to say them. It's not that they're vulgar, but you know the terms when somebody's like that. That the female, it's a name, not a derogatory name. It's a birth name that people use, and then now there's a male one, meaning the man's version of it, and people just throw it out. She's a, or he's a. Not again vulgar. It's a birth name. That's, I don't know how that happened. I guess I could study that too. How that name, and people that have that name, I wonder how they deal with it, or they just ignore it. But you know what that is when somebody acts like that, and they're like, oh, they're this, that name. And what that is they're jaded. That person's jaded, and they're bitter, and they're angry, and they take it out on everybody. And you're going to get it until you find a way to get past that. But most of the time, most of us aren't be like, I'm not going to go there with them, because they're, even if we do find some easiness, it's going to go off somewhere, because they always do when they're like that. They get, they're gonna the shoe's gonna drop, and they're a loose cannon, which we don't want to be. We don't want to be a loose cannon. We want to control this inside and not allow bitterness to grow in there and grow roots. Thank you for joining us here on Pastor's Corner. We thank you for your support. We thank you for following, liking, subscribing. If you'd like to bless us financially, there's some things there on the screen. We will be back here in person, noon, 12 o'clock Arizona time, 1363 South Vineyard in Mesa, Arizona, 85210. Thank you for joining us, and have a blessed Sunday.